We're going to find some team members. Well, let's try this. When people first started network marketing, they say, well, I talked to all my relatives and friends and they said no. Where do I find some good, hot prospects? And I say to them, if your friends and relatives hated what you said, will strangers like it anymore? I don't think you have to find new people to ruin. Instead, maybe we should fix what we say. And why is that? Well, because most people are pre-sold. Huh? Almost everybody we talk to is pre-sold. They want our products. They want our opportunity. And you're thinking, really? That's a little bit hard to believe. How could people be pre-sold? Because they've all been telling me no. Well, let's try this. Let's go out and talk to 100 people. And we're going to ask them a little survey question. We're going to say, do you want to live longer or die quicker? They go, well, I want to live longer. Okay. Well, do you want to have more money in your life or less money in your life? I want more money in my life. Pre-sold. So almost 100% of the people we talk to are pre-sold. You say, well, why did they say no? Well, let's do a little look. I want you to imagine that 100% of the people are pre-sold. Then we talk to them. And then they say no. Does that sound familiar? 100% of the people are pre-sold. We talk to them. And then they say no. Now, I'm going to do this slower, and I'm going to ask you, do you see where it all went wrong? Let's do this again. 100% of the people are pre-sold. Hint. We talk to them, and they say no. So where did it all go wrong? You guessed it. We talk to them. And here's what happens. Because we choose the wrong words, we literally talk them out of it. Yes? Even though we have a great thing to offer, we choose the wrong words. We choose social chit-chat words that we learned in school instead of commercial talking words. And we literally talk people out of it. And we talk them out of it so bad that at the end they might say, well, I'd rather die quickly and be broke rather than do business with you. Well, that's pretty personal, isn't it? So, let's move on. The point is, if we change our words, we're going to have much better success with people. So I see. So prospecting is everybody's pre-sold. We want to say words that don't talk them out of it. And so they will say yes. And then we have customers and distributors. Yeah. So let me give you an example. Let's go to a party. And let's say we just want to sell some health products. Let me show you the difference words can make. Ready? And this is a license to print money. So, people, do they like talking about themselves? They love talking about themselves. So if you're shy, this is great. All you have to do is stand and listen. Sometimes maybe nod. That looks good. Or if you want to talk, you could say, oh, really? And then they'll talk more. People love people who listen. People don't like people who talk. So if you're one of these brave people, outgoing, want to talk to everybody about your program, bite your tongue, learn to listen. Because one of the secrets is people want to solve their problems. The only reason for our business to exist is to solve people's problems. All right, if people don't get sleepy, there's no reason for hotels. If people don't get hungry, there's no reason for restaurants. So the only reason for business to exist is to solve people's problems. So what we want to do is solve people's health problems. You know, what do they want? They want to live longer, have more energy, feel better, wake up great, have better night's sleep. Yeah, we just want to solve people's problems. So how are we going to find out what their problem is? Yeah, we're going to listen. So if you're shy, if you're a listener, you are so far ahead. Now, if you're one of the brave, outgoing people who love to talk, it's going to take a long time for you to catch up with us shy people. So if you're shy, this is awesome. You were made for this business. So let's go to this party. So we're at this party, and we're thinking, all right, so who's probably going to have more health problems? Well, when they're young, when people are young, they have more health and less money. And when they're older, no, they have more money and less health, and they're willing to trade some of their money for good health. I think I'll go to a party with old people, people over 30, where their bodies are falling apart already. So we're going to go to a party with people over 30, and maybe there's 20 couples there. Here is your chance to make it easy in prospecting. So all you have to do is come up, and you're going to say the words, hi. And when you say hi, how are they going to react? They're probably going to say hi, because people are reactive. And you're going to say, what is your name? No, you could say, here is my name, what is your name? And that'll make them feel even more comfortable. So I could say, my name is Big Al, what's your name? And then you might say, where are you from? And this is where I'm from. And what do you do for a living? So you have a little conversation where most of the time we're listening, because they are so excited to have somebody listen to them, because their kids don't listen to them, their family don't listen to them, their people at the work don't listen to them, their boss don't listen to them. When we finally listen to them, they are so excited they get a chance to talk. So when they get a chance to talk, people normally want to talk about their problems. Why? You meet a stranger at a party, and they say, hi, I get a chance to talk. They want to tell you all their problems, how the world's been unfair to them, how hard it was to get here, how much they suffer. And this is a program in the human mind. The reason we want to talk about our problems is we want people to love us more. Now, some people have the program a little bit. Some people have it a lot. You've heard them. They talk forever about their problems. But the point is, people are programmed to talk about their problems. And we're thinking, whoa, this is good. As long as people are talking, I can listen, find out what their problems are, and I have solutions. They're going to love me. And that's the secret. So let's pick some words. We're going to come up to a person. We're going to have a little conversation. And somewhere in the conversation, we're going to say these words. So what are your 2 biggest health problems? Now, there's a secret by saying 2. We don't need to discuss that right now. But if you say 2, it works so much better. So what are your 2 biggest health problems? Because really, if you only say 1, they think, oh, which one's most important? And if you say 3 or 4 or 5, now their brain has to work too hard. So we're just going to say, what are your 2 biggest health problems? And they're going to go, wow, I get to talk about my problems. Tears down my eyes. I love you, man. Total report. This is awesome. And they start telling their problems. And they're going to say, well, remember, they're over 30 now, so their bodies are falling apart because they're old people. So they're going to say, oh, my ankles hurt, my knees hurt, my hips hurt, my back hurts, my neck hurts. I have migraine headaches now. I have acid reflux. That's a disease now, I have 5 known diseases, 4 unknown diseases, and 3 diseases they haven't even discovered yet. And when they finally take a breath, and we have a chance to talk, sip out of the soda, we're going to say, do you want to do something about it? Do you want to do something about it? Question mark. No, that's a nice conversation. And they have an option, don't they? They can say, yes, I want to do something about it, or no, I want to suffer forever. Because, they may want to suffer. They might say, oh, man, if I was well, I wouldn't have anything to talk about. So I got to keep all my problems. Oh, fine. Do you want to do something about it? Yes or no decision. If they say yes, ka-ching, we're done. They have made a yes decision. Yes, I want to do something about it. We give them the solution. That wasn't that hard, was it? So all we have to do is listen to them complain about their health problems and say, do you want to do something about it? And you say, well, that's kind of rude. I couldn't say that to my mother. Well, to your mother, you might say, have you ever considered doing something about it? That's still a yes or no. Have you ever considered doing something about it? And you can go through that party And if there's 20 couples, you can talk to 40 people. And I guarantee you, you'll be taking order after order after order just because we use the right prospecting words. So write these down right away. If you need a whole bunch of health customers right away, or your new people say, well, I don't know how to approach my family and friends. And say, well, somewhere in conversation, ask them, what are your 2 biggest health problems? And listen. And say, well, that's rejection-free. I can do that. I won't be scared. Great. So pencil and paper, write down, what are your 2 biggest health problems? I say, well, that's pretty easy. I can do that to get tons of retail customers just like that. So what are your 2 biggest health problems? Well, I'm tired every afternoon, and then when I go to bed at night, I can't fall asleep. I toss and turn, and that makes me wake up in the morning tired. And it is a license to build your business instantly. Take tons of orders, help people's lives, because the purpose of business is to solve their problems. And you're thinking, well, could I use this for business? Could I use it to maybe get team members? Why not? So what question could we ask them? Well, what are your 2 biggest problems with your career, or your 2 biggest problems with your job? And they might say, well, problem number 1 is I have a real sleazy boss. And problem number 2, I have to work overtime, so a lot of Saturdays I can't go to my kids' activities. And we would say, so would you like to do something about it? Yes or no. If the answer is no, we talk about the weather. We say, oh, great, great. Change the subject. You know, so how's the weather where you live? And they say, well, same as yours. I live right next door. But we change the subject. But if they say yes, they want to do something about it. How easy is that? So let me give you the next words. If they say yes, all you have to do is say, then we should talk. You say, wow, then we should talk. They're going to say, well, how about talking right now, or let's talk next Tuesday. So getting an appointment is a simple matter of saying, then we should talk. No rejection. And if they feel, oh man, you haven't brushed your teeth and you haven't showered in 3 years, and you know, I don't really like the look in your face, they can say, no, we shouldn't talk, and leave it alone. But chances are, if we have personal hygiene, they're going to say, yeah, we should talk. Let's figure out a time. And that's the secret of prospecting. People have problems. They want to fix their problems. So, what are the 2 biggest problems with your job? Well, it takes a long time to get there and commute, and they just don't pay me enough. Do we have a solution to that? Yes, we do. So, go to the mall Saturday morning. All the clerks are putting stuff out in the hallway, or people walk, you know, things on sale. What do we know about these clerks? Well, are they overpaid or underpaid? Well, they're underpaid. Do they love their job or hate their job? They hate their job. Do they like working on Saturday morning? No, they don't. They have a hangover from Friday night. Do they want a better life? Yes, they do. Do they want more money in their life? Yeah. Would they like to be their own boss? Yes. These people have problems, and all we have to do is check if now is a good time for them to want to, you know, fix their problems or not. If they don't want to fix their problems right now, that's not our problem. But most people would like to have a solution. So Saturday morning, go down to the mall. See a clerk there with a hangover, putting the clothes out on the counter outside in the hallway so things are on sale. And we know a lot about them already. And we stop and chat and say, oh, yeah. So you have to work Saturdays a lot? Oh, I got to work every Saturday and also Sunday too. And I miss all my all the time with my friends. And I got problems. That, you know. We just listen. And then you say, well, would you like to do something about it? And they say, well, yeah, I would. And they say, well, then we should talk. Then we should talk. Hope you wrote that down. Then we should talk. And they say, yeah, we should. And I said, well, when do you have your break? And we can't talk now. You're at work. Oh, I have a break at 11:30 for 15 minutes. Let's meet down by the food court and we'll chat then. Instant appointment with a stranger, and they feel good about it, and they're looking forward to our conversation because they want to do something about their problem. How cool is that? So then we should talk is such an easy way that they don't feel pressured, but they look forward to it, words that we can say. I say, okay, so what I need to do is look for people with problems that I can solve. Now, some people have problems you can't solve, but we can solve some health problems, couldn't we? We could solve some money problems or freedom and time problems. There's a lot of people with these. So you say, well, how would I start looking for people? I've already talked to all my family and friends, and they said no. Well, why'd they say no? Because we said stupid stuff. So when I started, I went for 1 year and 10 months. That's almost 2 years. I went for 1 year and 10 months, and I probably talked to well over 1,000 people, maybe 1,500 people. They all said no. Now, do you think I run across 1,500 unmotivated people in a row? I don't think so. They all said no. But what happened was, I was at the scene of the crime every time. I sat down with these people, I talked, and they said no. Obviously, it's something that I said. So what I did is I started learning better words. Things like, then we should talk, right? Or what are your two biggest problems? After I learned those words, I went back to the exact same people that told me no. And a lot of them said, yeah, let's join. Let's become a customer. Let's get involved. And I got thinking, really? So what did that prove to me? It proved to me that people didn't say no to the opportunity. They didn't say no to the products. They only said no to how it was presented to them. If we can go back to all our friends and relatives that said no earlier, we're going to find this. Number one, they barely remember that we exist. We're such a small part of their life. And we present it slightly different. They're going to say, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. So don't feel bad about all the people who said no. These are people that have been proven to say no when we say stupid stuff. We can go back and say, do you have a problem? Would you like to fix it? And ka-ching, we're in. And you say, wow. So if I'm talking to people, I could find out if they have a problem with too many hours, or working out of their home instead of, or no babysitter, or needing more money. Solving problems is the easiest way. So let's do an example here. So let's say we're in Las Vegas, Nevada. You drop me into Las Vegas in a parachute. You say, Big Al, I'll go out and find some hot prospects. I said, okay. There's no such thing as a hot prospect. Everybody's a prospect. Everybody wants to live longer. Nobody says, no, I would like to die quickly. So they're all prospects. I just have to avoid saying stupid stuff to them. But probably some prospects are more qualified than others. Well, yeah. Let's go to unemployment office. 2 lines. One line is people saying, hurry up, give me my unemployment check and money so I can go back home and watch TV. And the other line is saying, do you have any job openings? Well, one line is obviously better prospects than other. One line is actually looking to do something about it. So if you were to drop me in the middle of Las Vegas and I don't know anybody, I think I would look for people that tend to know, I want to do more. I want more options. I want more in my life. So where am I going to find these people? Well, let's start here. I landed on my parachute on the Las Vegas Strip, and I said, okay, who do I want to talk to? And I said, all right, I want to talk to teachers. Now, why do you want to talk to teachers? Well, teachers have some pretty good skills. They can teach your team what to do, what to say, so they don't say stupid stuff, and they know how to teach. Oh, wait. And teachers are also underpaid. So that's another problem we're going to solve. So you drop me in the Las Vegas Strip, and I say, take me to your grade school. Take me to your grade school band teacher. And you go, what? Well, here's the deal. I want to talk to the band teacher. What do I know about the band teacher? Well, the band teacher at the grade school is tremendously underpaid. And if he's a band teacher for a 5th grade band, have you ever heard of 5th grade band? They're terrible. They have to have unlimited patience to have that job. Plus, they're always hustlers. They have to raise money for uniforms and for trips and for band instruments. These are the perfect people. So if I landed in Las Vegas, I'd say, take me to your band teacher for the 5th grade. And these would be the best prospects in the world for me. But you say, well, okay, there can't be that many fifth grade band teachers. Who else would you talk to? All right, let's try this. I'm thinking, all right, who would be a good prospect for me? I want somebody kind of self-motivated, a self-starter, somebody with energy, somebody that wants more, needs more money. That would be a really easy prospect for me to talk to. So I get out of my parachute and I go to the first person, and I go inside. There's a little store, and I talk to the clerk. Now, why do I talk to the clerk? Well, because I'm shy. And to the clerk, I'm thinking, okay, the clerk has to be polite to me, because if the clerk is rude, they're going to lose their job. So I'm shy. I'll talk to that clerk at the 7-Eleven store. So I go to the clerk, and I say, I am just curious. Now, if you start with the magic words, I am just curious, what happens? Strangely, if you and I say, I am just curious to a stranger, the stranger says in their mind, open up my heart, tell them anything they want, even my deepest, darkest secrets, and never give them rejection. So if you want to approach a stranger, just start off with, I am just curious, and you're in. You say, well, that was really easy. But I guess we should tell them what we're curious about, so here it is. I am just curious. Could you do me a favor? And they're going to say, well, of course I could do you a favor, because you said I'm just curious. So I'm just curious, could you do me a favor? I am looking for people with a full-time job and a part-time job. And they go, huh? Do you know anybody like that? Now, what do we know about people with a full-time job and a part-time job? Well, if they have a full-time job and a part-time job, are they motivated? Oh, yeah. Are they self-starters? Yeah. Are they willing to work hard? Yeah. Do they want more money? Yeah. It's starting to sound like a pretty good prospect. So we say, I'm just curious. Could you do me a favor? I'm looking for people with a full-time job and a part-time job. Do you know anybody like that? And the person says, well, my brother. I said, great. Give me your brother's number. They go, huh? Give me your brother's number. Well, why do you want his number? So I can call him. Oh. So I call the brother, and I say, hi. I was just talking to your brother, and he said you had a full-time job and a part-time job. Is that true? Oh, yeah, I have a full-time job and a part-time job. Would you like to get rid of one of those jobs? Yeah, I'd like to get rid of one of those jobs. How easy was that? We're going to say, and then let's talk. And set an appointment to talk. Because if people have a full-time job and a part-time job, they don't want that for the rest of their life. They want a life. So if I could help that brother get rid of a part-time job, wow, that person would give me a big hug. If I show them how to get rid of the part-time job and the full-time job both, they'd probably worship the ground I walk on. So the best prospects are people with a full-time job and a part-time job who'd like to get rid of one of those jobs. And there's people like that everywhere. So my question to you is, where are we going to find some people with a full-time job and a part-time job? That's pretty easy. All you have to do is just hang around different places in the weekends, and you're going to find a lot of people with a part-time job who also have a full-time job during the week who just can't wait to talk to us to solve their problems. So the purpose of business is to solve people's problems. All we have to do is find people with problems. And the easiest way to find them with problems is to listen. So prospecting gets a lot easier when we see it from the, well, people have problems, we have solutions, we take the volunteers that want to fix the problem. And that's the secret of prospecting. So you say, well, don't I have to sit down and make a list of prospects? No. You have a phone already. Most of your prospects are right in that phone already as prospects. And you say, well, how am I going to approach these people? Well, you're going to ask them if they have a problem. And if they have a problem, do they want to fix it? And you say, well, this is amazingly easy. Well, don't I have to be a salesman? Don't I have to have some magic words? I says, no, you can even do it with strangers. So let's go to a networking event. And at the networking event, we're going to meet somebody we don't know, and guess what? there is a certain sequence. Sequence number one is we're going to say hi, they're going to react. People are reactive. They're going to react to what we say and what we do. So if we say hi, they're naturally going to say hi. If we smile, they're going to smile. If we want to help them, they're going to smile, or we're going to help them. Let me show you how reactive people are. I can go out in the parking lot right now, meet a stranger, give them $100. The stranger will react. The stranger goes, oh, wow, $100. Do you have any more? This sounds great. This is awesome. Or I can go out in the parking lot, meet the exact same stranger, and give them a punch in the nose. Will that person react? Oh, yeah, they're going to go, oh, that was rude. That was really mean. Or they might hit me back. Same person in the parking lot, two totally different reactions. My question is, does the activity of the person in the parking lot have anything to do with that person, or just reacting to what we do? So we can get people to react different. But let's take a look at some more words. So let's take some real-life examples of prospecting and finding good people for our business. The year's 1984, and I'm sitting down at Chili's restaurant on Westheimer in Houston, one of my favorite restaurants because they have Mexican food. And I'm sitting in the way, shoveling, eating food, having a great time, and these two party guys come up. And they come up and they said hi, and they start laughing and talking, and obviously maybe they've been chemically induced to be in a happy mood. But they asked what I did for a living, and I told them about my business. And then I never saw these two guys again. But 3 days later, I get this phone call. And this person calls up and says, you Big Al? I said, yeah, I'm Big Al. He says, well, I own a restaurant, and I'm with a partner, and I don't want to be in that restaurant business anymore. I said, yeah. And just wondering about your business. And he says, if I come down to Houston, which is about a 3-hour drive, would you talk to me? And I says, yeah, just, we'll talk over some more Mexican food. So he comes by, and he says, well, you know, this restaurant takes a lot of time, and, you know, as a partner, I just want to be on my own. And as I tell him about the business, and he says, you know what, I think I'd like to do that business. So how do I start? I said, well, the first thing you do is, today's Thursday. I said, I'm free next Tuesday. Do you know anybody in Houston? He says, yeah, I know a few people in Houston. I said, well, what we're going to do is call them up, and on Tuesday, you and I will go talk to them. So Tuesday morning comes around early at 8 o'clock. We're sitting at JoJo's restaurant in northwest side of Houston. And I said, all right, we need to talk to some folks. And he says, well, we're going to meet here, these two ladies. Now, these two ladies that he'd set up the first appointment with, they looked like they would eat their young. They were scary ladies. So he takes one lady aside to talk to him, and I take the other lady aside. And the lady I'm talking to, she says, yeah, I think I'll join. Makes sense, yeah. And she yelled to her other lady friend, she says, and you're going to join under me. And they joined. And we had his first distributors. And then we said to the ladies, who do you know that's locally here that we could talk to? And they said, well, we could talk to my friend. And we said, oh, let's call her up. So we call her up, and that lady says, yeah. And she's a very nice, yellow personality, quiet-spoken person. She says, yeah, you can come meet me. I'm only 10 minutes away. We went and met her. And when we arrived, they said, oh, thank you for coming. And we didn't even need a presentation. She was ready to join. She just liked the community. And so when we're done, we said to her, so who do you know? And she said, well, I know Mike. I said, well, is Mike free? Yeah. He's at work. He can get away. And so 15 minutes later, we're meeting with Mike. And we went person to person all day long, and we talked to 14 people. And he said, well, how do you talk to 14 people? I said, each person only knew one person. And there was this little sentence I used. The sentence was, who's your best friend? Well, everybody has a best friend. Oh, what do you know about the best friends? Well, the best friends think the same way we do. That's why we are best friends. I said, who's your best friend? Let's talk to them now. So as soon as they sign up, I said, who's your best friend? Let's talk to them now. And we went person after person, and we talked to 14 people that day. At the end of the day, we're sitting down at the restaurant. We came back to JoJo's restaurant, and the person said to me, I don't get it. He says, 13 out of 14 people joined. And, Big Al, you give a lousy presentation. You get mixed up, you forget where things are, and still they all joined. How is it possible? And I says, well, first of all, everybody we talked to was the other person's best friend who joined already. Everybody has at least one person who thinks the same way they do, and they're going to probably say, yeah, I'd like to join with you. I'd like to do business with you. And so I didn't even have to be very good. They all made up their mind right away, and all the details about the business they can learn later in training. He says, Big Al, not to be disrespectful, but you're really bad at this. Is it okay if I do it on my own tomorrow and don't have you tagging around? I says, yeah. And that was the start of him becoming a leader. Now, here's where we started. I started with the first time I met this man, and I said, just on Tuesday, set up an appointment with 3 or 4 people. Well, we only took the first person, and we went one after other, 14 people. We haven't even talked to the other 3 people yet, and we already had 13 people on his team. So the question is, do you need a lot of people to talk to? No, because everybody you and I talk to know at least 200 people that we don't. Now, out of these 200 people, we won't want to talk to everybody. That would be silly. That's going to take too much time, and most of them are going to be boring people. But out of 200 people, there's probably 3, 4, or 5 that are just perfect for a business. We want to talk to those 3, 4, or 5. So we ask them, who do you know? Who's your best friend? Or who has this problem? Or who has this problem? And we'll be talking to the best possible prospects who are saying, you know what? Now is a good time for me. Because remember, not every time is perfect for everyone. So don't feel discouraged that their best friend can't talk to you right away, because maybe if you would have called an hour later, it would have been different. Here's how it works in people's lives. If you have one person that you say, I just hope they're joined, well, don't hope they're joined. Just give them an option, and if the option fits them now, they'll take it. Here's the example. I'm a bank vice president, and you want to call me up. So you call me up at 6:30 in the morning, say, I have to go to work, so he's probably up. 6:30 in the morning, I'm still in bed. And you call me at 6:30 in the morning, I am not a prospect for anything. I'm a slow riser. But call me at 7:30 in the morning, and I've been reading the paper and says, ooh, big bank layoffs, a lot of vice presidents are going to lose their job. You call me at 7:30 in the morning, I'm going to be a lot more open-minded and say, yeah, maybe we should talk. But what if you called me at 9 o'clock? Well, here's what happened. On the way to work at 8:30, I'm in a rush, and I have a car accident. So you call me at 9 o'clock, I'm still in the middle of the car accident, filling out the paperwork, and the police is there, and I can't be interested right then. But maybe you call me at 9:30. Well, what happened at 9:30? Well, at 9:30, the boss came by my desk and said, hey, Big Al, I have some good news and some bad news. I said, so what's the good news and bad news? He says, well, the bad news is you're fired. I says, oh, wow, that's really bad news. He says, what's the good news? He said, well, the good news is you have the rest of the day off. Now you call me, and I'm really open-minded. So just in a period of a couple hours, we can go from a no prospect to a great prospect to a no prospect to a great prospect. Timing might be more important than maybe the offer sometimes. So don't be discouraged if you meet people at the bad time. So we talk to people. Everybody we know knows other people. So when I first got started in the early 70s, I started with a meeting in my home, and people come by the apartment. So I met this guy. I was on jury duty, and I looked around and said, 200 people here. How do I approach people? I'm pretty scared about approaching people. But I saw a man in the corner. He's reading a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I got thinking, whoa, this person's kind of serious. He might be a possible team member for me. So I went to meet him, and we sat down and talked to him about the business. And he says, yeah, I'm studying to be a life insurance salesman. I want to change my career. You know, I have a couple kids at home. And I said, okay. And he joined. So he says, so what do I do? And I said, well, every Tuesday night I have a meeting at my home. So please come by and bring a guest. So the first night he comes by and he brings a guest. And it's a lady. She's 46 years old, married, 12 children. She lives on $432 a month, ADC, Aid for Dependent Children. And her husband's disabled with back problems and drinks. And at the end, I said to him, thanks for bringing a guest, but they have to be a little bit qualified. And he says, yeah, I know. That's the only person I could find on short notice, but next week I'll bring more. Well, here's what happened. He got started and made a little bit of money, and then kind of dropped out and went and sold life insurance. But this lady he brought, here's what I didn't know. She wanted to change her life. She says, with 12 children and barely enough money, I need more money. And she went to work. So it wasn't how much money they had. What we're looking for is what's the desire inside their heart. So she said, yeah, I'm going to work. Well, she started building a group. And a couple months later, I'm making $1,500 a month in overrides just from this one lady and her group she's building. I'm thinking, wow, I'm pretty good at this business. But I didn't even know this lady because she was known by this man. So it's not who we know. It could be who they know, or who they know, or who they know. Well, this lady went on and she started qualifying for cars. She won some trips to Hawaii. She had a daughter that she was grooming into the business. That was 8 years old, could do meetings. And she took her daughter to all these trips. And if I prejudged, I would have probably missed out. So what did I learn from this? I learned that it's not where people are today that counts. It's where they want to be. So think about that. When we see people, it's not where they are today. It's where they want to be. So if they want to have a better life, or if they want better health, or if they want time freedom, it's that desire that we want to look for when we're out talking to people. So here's a couple of questions that we can ask. You might say, somewhere in conversation, do you want to earn some extra money? And what are the answers to that one? No, either yes or no. And if they say, no, I don't want to earn any extra money, and my tax rate will go up, and my life will be ruined. All right, got that. Or they might say, yeah, I'd like to earn some extra money. And then I would ask the question, can you set aside 6 or 10 hours a week? Now, there's no magic in 6 or 10 hours a week. But what we're checking for is a desire. Because if they're unwilling to set aside any time, they're going to be unwilling to handle any other objections or obstacles that happen in the way. So what I'm looking for is somebody that wants to do something and has that desire for it. So I said, do you want to earn some extra money? And can you set aside 6 or 10 hours a week? Well, what if they say, oh, I can only set aside 2 hours because I'm head of the Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Girl Scouts. I know all these people, and I have, well, they could probably do more in 2 hours than most people could do in 20 hours. That's fine. We're just checking for a desire for them to move forward. So when you and I are out prospecting, what are we looking for? A desire to change. It's not where they are, but where they want to be that counts. You say, well, that was pretty easy. Oh, where else can I find prospects? Well, if you find one person, remember, one person knows lots of people. So early in my career, I'm selling some vitamins, and back in 1970, if you took vitamins, you're pretty much an anti-government, hippie, weird person. And I said, well, that's not going over very well, but people do like to lose weight. So here's what I did to create more prospects. I said to a lady, you know, you're always talking about dieting. Would you like to lose weight? She said, yeah. I said, well, we'll have a diet club, and we'll have it at your home. She said, oh, that sounds great, yeah. So she set up a diet club. Now, a lot of ladies in our neighborhood weren't working, so they could come on Tuesday morning at 10:30, and we had a diet club. Here's what I did. I brought a scale. Everybody weighed in, and we'd see who lost the most weight from the previous week. And these ladies, they're not taking it too serious. They would cheat. They'd have like bricks in their pocket one week, and the next week they'd take out the bricks so they would win. And then after the big weigh-in, I'd give a little 1-minute lecture of what a exercise would look like. if they ever saw an exercise. And then we'd break for refreshments, and everybody bought potluck. They bought different cookies and cakes and stuff because they all like to bake. And when they all sat around eating, and I got to tell you, nobody lost weight. But they all told their husbands, yes, 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 we're going to the diet club every Tuesday. We're taking this serious. They had a great time. It was a social thing. But they all bought vitamins because, oh, maybe this vitamin will help me win the little trophy for losing the most weight next week. And I had a little trophy that I bought, and it was a traveling trophy. You had to bring it back every week and give it to the new top weight loss winner. It was a social thing, and they started taking vitamins. They got healthier, and they felt better, and I started building customers. And some of these ladies said, this is so much fun, I wish I could do it with my relatives and friends, and guess what? Other people find people for us. So we don't have to run ads and just go out in the street and meet strangers. Everybody we meet knows at least 200 people we don't. And out of these 200 people, some are going to be the absolute best people we can do. So the questions we could say is, would you like to earn some extra money? Or how about this? I'm in Belgium with my good friend John Fee. And we're sitting down and we're having lunch, and John Fee says, so what do you say to strangers? So the waiter comes by to take our order, and I says, well, watch this. So the waiter comes by, and we're doing a workshop there all day. So during the lunch, he says, so what do you like to order, blah, blah, blah. And I asked the waiter, says, so are you married to your job, or are you open-minded? And the waiter goes, well, of course I'm open-minded. I don't want to be a waiter here all my life, you know. I said, great, well, then we should talk. And he says, oh, when? I said, well, we'll talk, you know, later, because we have to go back and do this workshop. And John Fee said, well, that was pretty easy. I said, yeah, I just gave him a choice, gave him an option. He could stay at this job the rest of his life or have a better option. How easy was that? So we had a little break about 2:30 in the afternoon. We come back for a cup of coffee in the middle of the afternoon. And the waiter is looking at us. And the waiter comes over and says, hey, you didn't forget about me, did you? When are we going to talk? When are we going to talk? I said, no, we not forget about you, but you know you're working now. And he says, man, you can't believe. My replacement at 4 o'clock is not coming in. I got to work overtime tonight. This is terrible. When can we talk? There are so many people out there that are desperate for new opportunity. They don't have any opportunity. We are the ones that's going to give it to them. Now, they don't know where to go. We have the answer. They have a problem. We have the answer. So think, when you look at people, all these people have problems in their life. What we do is solve their problems. Now, when they look at the solution, they can take it or not. And it could be like my mom. Some people don't want a solution. So many, many years ago, my mother got diabetes. And so she had to worry about her blood sugar. And I said, well, let me find something at a health food store for you for your blood sugar and diabetes. And so I found some tablets for her, and I brought them to her. And 30 days later, I called my mom. So how's it going? She says, well, I can't swallow tablets. Now, that would be a hint that she doesn't want to take it, wouldn't it? But no, not to me. I'm an idiot. I didn't take the hint. I said, don't worry, Mom, I'll find a liquid version. So I went and found some liquid, and I checked a month later. I said, so, Mom, how you doing? She says, well, I can't swallow pills or liquids. Well, then I got the hint. She didn't want to take it because she enjoyed visiting the doctor every 2 weeks to check her blood sugar, and that's part of her social life. So the question is, do we pick up hints? If people don't want to talk to us, leave it alone. It's not for them. They're just trying to be polite to tell us no. So people will tell us no by saying things, well, it's not for me, I don't have time, this is too difficult, I don't understand it, I got to ask somebody's permission. That's a hint. But we will get less hints for no as we learn to talk to people better by giving them an option. So why do people give us these hints and don't tell us no? Because they just don't want to hurt our feelings. People are polite, and they don't want to say no to us, because if they say no to us, they're going to see us tomorrow. And tomorrow, they're going to say, I feel guilty about telling you no. So they're going to make up weird excuses. don't worry about it. Just say weird excuses, mean no. They're being polite. They don't want to hurt my feelings, and they don't want to feel guilty. They just make stuff up. So what we do is give people options. And if you don't give people options, it's going to be a miserable life. Let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a neighbor, but you don't talk to your neighbor. You don't give them an option to earn extra money. You don't give them an option to have more time. You don't give them an option for better health. That's fine. And you start with a business here, and pretty soon you qualify for this wonderful holiday, and you're on a beach in paradise. You take the plane to this nice Pacific island, and you get out there, and you beach chair, and you're sitting back, and you're enjoying, you have your favorite drink, and you see a little dot on the horizon. And that dot's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And soon you realize it's a person. And as it gets closer and closer, you see the person is dragging a blanket with the holes in it. And that person walks right up to where we're sitting in the chair and spreads out the blanket on the beach and lays down on that blanket with holes on it. And you look down, the person looks up, and it's your next door neighbor. And your next door neighbor says, I can't believe it. You're here on this island of paradise. And we say, wow, I can't believe it. I see you every day, and now you're at the island of paradise, so how is it you're here? And our neighbor says, well, you know, I live a poor and miserable life. I work 3 jobs. I never have any money, and I never see my family, and it's such a poor and miserable life, so I saved up all the money I could, and I take some money out of my children's piggy bank, and I bought a ticket for 3 days in paradise. I said, I just want 3 days to call my own before I go back to work and then die. And our next door neighbor says, and how is it that you're here? And we say, well, you know, I joined this business a few months ago, and, you know, I got this wonderful holiday vacation now, and I get all these extra checks. I don't even have to go to work. It's been fantastic, and, whoops, I didn't share the opportunity with you, did I? The neighbor gets up, stands up, walks over to the ice carving, picks up the machete, starts walking toward you. Oh, we don't want that to happen, right? So we want to let everybody know that they have an opportunity to do this business. So to avoid random machete attacks by people, here's what we want to do. We want to make sure we let everybody know that they have a choice. If they say no, that's fine. It's not for them. But if they say yes, that's great. We just don't want to withhold the choice from other people. It's unfair for us to make somebody else's decision for them. So if you're hesitant to talk to people, ask yourself this. Do I have the right to make the decision for them and make a no decision for them? And they go, oh, it's terrible. I can't do that. I at least let them have the decision. So as we're approaching people, we're going to have some feelings. Here's the feelings we're going to have. I don't want them to say no, but I don't want to withhold it from them. What am I going to do? Well, they did this experiment. And if you think you feel scared, let me assure you, you're not the scared one in this conversation. They took this college student as part of her psychology class. They said, what you have to do is grab a little bag here and go to the train station and ask people for money for charity. Oh, she goes, man, that's going to be hard. She said, no, you got to do it. So she went out and she asked 100 people, do you want to donate, $1 for charity? And they asked her first, how many people do you think will donate $1? She said, I don't know, 3 out of 100 or 5 out of 100. She didn't know. Well, they came back, and she was surprised that over half the people donated some pocket change or $1 to the charity. But that wasn't the real experiment. The real experiment was they hired a researcher to follow behind this lady and talk to everybody she talked to. And when they talked to these people, they said, so this lady just asked you for money, how'd you feel? They found out that the other person was more scared than she was. They said, we're afraid she's going to come and ask us for money. And then she did. It was terrible. And I just gave her money to go away. The people we talk to are more scared of us than we are of them. And they found out through this research that 75% of the money that's donated to charity isn't really for the charity. It's because they felt guilty about their social situation or other people looking. People are more scared of us than we are of them. Now, so if you're approaching people, don't be worried. If you approach them with an option, or if you approach them to, I don't know, maybe solve a problem, it's not going to be so scary because we're not attached to the outcome. So we're not going to worry about how they react. All we worry about is we notify them that they have an option. If they want to say yes and volunteer, we're set. And if they want to say no and not be interested, we're okay too. But trust me, they are more scared of us than we are of them. And you say, wow, so, okay, I'm going to make some calls. I'm going to approach people, but I still have this fear inside me. Well, let me give you another case study. Here's what they did to help people overcome their fear and get better results. This is another charity. And they had salespeople that worked every week in this charity, and they make call after call after call, please donate to the charity. So they broke the group up of salesmen into 3 groups. So group number 1 of the salesmen, they just measured their fundraising for the next 2 weeks, and they had a number. But group number 2, here's what they did. They trained them about words to say, sales techniques and stuff for 15 minutes every morning before they got on the phone. And at the end of 2 weeks, guess how much money they raised? The same amount. And I got thinking, really? Yeah, they raised about the same amount. Group number 3, here's what they did. 15 minutes every morning before they got started, they had these people talk to people this charity helped. They talked to people who donated to the charity and said, oh, I feel good about donating because I couldn't help in person, but at least I could send some money. And they talked to them for 15 minutes before they made their calls. Here's what happened. They raised twice as much money because their belief level was so much higher in their solution. So, if you and I want to talk to people with less fear, all we have to do is change our mindset from I'm doing this to people to I'm doing this for people. So to get a little courage, all we have to do is talk to some satisfied customers. Says, man, now I have energy all afternoon. This is great. Or now I get a good night's sleep for the first time in 10 years. And I get it every night. I just feel great. Or having this extra money is going to mean I can pay for Christmas with cash instead of credit cards. And we talk to these people first. We're going to have that belief in us. It's going to show through in our tone of voice, our body language, our microfacial expressions, and the words we say. And that is going to make us almost fearless. So now we're calling to help people instead of calling to try to get them to do something that fits our agenda. So here's the point. When our belief is high, it's easier to talk to people. And remember, this is not something we're doing to them. We're not doing it for our agenda. I just need one more person to get promoted. No, we're doing it for them, to help them solve their problem, to make their life better. So prospecting, you don't have to know many people. And when you approach them, if you approach them just with the agenda to help, guess what? They will react to us in a much more positive way. So good luck prospecting.